यस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नेहाभिक्रमनाशोऽस्ति नेहाभिक्रमनाशोऽस्ति प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्वल्पमप्यस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महतो भयात्। व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः एकेह कुरु नन्दन। बहुशाखा ह्यनन्ताश्च बुद्धयो व्यवसायिनाम्। यामिमां पुष्पितां वाचम् प्रवदन्त्यविपश्चितः। वेदवादरताः पार्थ नान्यदस्तीति वादिनः। कामात्मानः स्वर्गपराः जन्मकर्मफलप्रदाम् क्रियाविशेषबहुलाम् भोगैश्वर्यगतिं प्रति भोगैश्वर्यप्रसक्तानाम् तयापहृतचेतसाम् व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः समाधौ न विधीयते। So this is what we have to do. See, there is something to understand. That's called wisdom. You have no choice over it. Wisdom is not reserved for the wise. Understand? Wisdom is not reserved for some people. It's like food is everybody's need. You can't say food is reserved for the rich. Food is that everybody's need. Food is everybody's need. The moment we say it is our need, then we know how to respect it. Understand? We respect our need. So air is our need, food is our need, water is our need, environment is our need. You see, everything is our need. In that manner, even wisdom, there is certain vision to be gained about life, that jnanam about, do we really die at all? I mean, there is so much of belief that we all die. Everybody feels that we are going to die and everybody fears it. Right from the beginning of life, there is only one topic, the fear of death. And the whole life is just trying to evade death. You see. If I don't make any effort, then I'll be gone. So I am trying to maneuver my existence to see that I don't die. Now the thing is so much, it occupies so many minds. Fear of death, is everybody's obsession. Every living prani, every living being's obsession then a doubt arises. Do we really die? If it is true that we really die, then we should accept it. But we can never accept death. Not happily, though I may accept it as out of majboori, helplessly. It's different. Krishna says, hey, there is something to understand about yourself, you really don't die. Nor you are this form. This form dies, but you don't die because you are not, you are a light, you are a conscious being. You cannot be this inert form. You can't say the milk in the pot is pot. I mean, it's very, 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 very wrong. It's a real confusion. Looking upon the milk in the pot as a pot is definitely wrong. The milk in the pot is not pot. Similarly, the air in the pot is not pot. Pot breaks, air doesn't break. This is Ghatakasha. Similarly, we, the conscious being, are like the space in the pot and the body like the pot. Therefore, we can always move from the form to form, like we move from thought to thought. Right? What is the difference? Every thought comes and goes, but I can move from thought to thought. But the moment I start thinking that I am synonymous with the thought, meaning the destiny of the thought is my destiny. For some reason or the other, supposing I entertain that belief, let us say. The destiny of the thought is my destiny, and the destiny of the thought is that it has to die, and therefore I also would die. Then really this is a problem of a mistaken identity. I am looking at myself as another thought. It is a mistake about one's identity. Instead of seeing something as a rope, it happens to be rope. Instead of looking at it as rope, I am looking at it as snake. It's a problem in perception. And problem in perception is what Vedic culture says, all your problem is a problem in your perception. So just as we move from thought to thought, one can move also from the form to form, from state to state, from waking to dream, dream to another dream, dream to another dream, another dream, another dream. If I can move from one to another, understand, that clearly proves. It's like if I can move from one thought to another thought, then I can be moving forever. If I can move from one to another, then from that another to another, and from that another to yet another, like this I can go on until I discover that my existence is independent of thought. Till then, I am, you see, I am on a ride. I am being taken for a ride. By my wrong view, I am taken for a ride by my wrong view. You see? And therefore, like desires take us for a ride, and greed can take us for a ride, jealousy can take us for a ride, any emotion can take us for a ride, and it is only when that emotion subsides, then you have a relief. Then there is some relief, some shanti. But when will that subside? Bhagavan knows. Until then I am always on the ride. Therefore here Krishna says, my dear sir, there is some wisdom to gain about yourself. You don't really die. You assume a form and you leave the form. Bas. And as long as you have the form, you build some identity, some autobiography. You know, you have your own object. You become an individual, and then you have a certain sphere, certain circle, You have a certain life, certain length, certain momentum, and certain success, certain failure. You live a life. But the whole thing, that momentum that you really create around yourself just collapses the moment you transcend the form. And therefore here Bhagavan says, that wisdom that you need about yourself, that wisdom is not reserved for some people, it's meant for everyone. Like food is everybody's need. I want you to understand this point. What is a need for one is a need for everybody. It's a universal need. Just as understanding one's actuality is everybody's need, and the right attitude is also everybody's need. Mental peace is everybody's need. Is it not? Or some people only need it? Mental peace is everybody's need. Like health is everybody's need, mental peace also is everybody's need. If mental shanti is everybody's need, then right attitude which determines mental peace is also everybody's need. Karma yoga becomes everybody's need, not something that you do and oblige. If it is your need, then you don't oblige. To work is your need, therefore when you work, whom do you oblige? To eat is our need, eating is our need, and when a person eats food, whom does he oblige? I oblige my mother, father. A small child says, okay, today I am going to oblige you because you are forcing me to eat, but tomorrow I am not going to eat. Children, that is what makes them children anyway. They have to talk like children, but when you grow up, you can't say, no, today I am obliging. And the mother also has grown up by that time. He says, all right, don't eat. You see? By the time you grow up, mother also has grown up, and therefore when you say, I don't want to eat, mother says, don't eat. Therefore, we oblige none in meeting our needs. We oblige none. Do you know what prasadam we get out of it? We become free from bitterness. That I am obliging somebody is a thought that gives a lot of unhappiness to people. That I am obliging this person, I am obliging that person. In fact, we oblige none. Even when you give money to somebody, you don't oblige. In fact, you are only making yourself happy. You are paving the way to your shanti. Even when you help somebody, you don't oblige. I am telling something very profound. Even when you give something to somebody, you don't oblige. Swamiji, hum to sochte the. Oblige. No, you are only creating punya for yourself, and that punya is going to give you shanti, and that is going to pave every good deed that you do. Every good deed that you do is a step that you take towards your own liberation, towards your own shanti, towards your own well-being. Therefore, every step, every effort that you make for others' well-being is a step taken for your own well-being. And therefore, a step that you take for your well-being, in taking a step for your well-being, whom do you oblige? Whom do you oblige? You oblige none. Oblige none. Supposing everybody at home sits at home and you go out and work and bring bread, butter, plus so many other things, including even imported rum. Because they say, aate waqt wo bhi le aana. Makes you very angry, that is the time you must see anger. Not only you are going, everybody is sitting at home and you go out, work, make money and come back, bring bread and butter for everybody, and they say, aate waqt wo bhi le aana. What will you think? So ultimately you bring it also, ultimately. And therefore, even when you are doing it, please understand, don't feel. If you give it nicely, okay, let them have it. Ultimately, you are only paving the way to your liberation. That is why we have a beautiful message given by the Veda. It is sung like this. Shraddhaya deyam, ashraddhaya deyam, shriya deyam, kriya deyam, piya deyam, samvida deyam. Hey, whenever you help somebody, do it with the shraddha, that your good deed will come back to you as a blessing. And there is nothing wrong in doing good for the blessing. It is not that really I should not be interested even in that blessing. Why? Doing good for getting God's blessings for one's own inner peace, there is nothing wrong in it. Therefore, do it with the Shraddha. Ashraddhaya adeyam means what? Don't do with Ashraddha means what? Don't do good, with a doubt in your heart. Don't unnecessarily have a doubt in your heart. Be clear before you take a step. Be clear. Take longer and longer time to become clear, and then take a step. But let there be no doubt in your heart that when you do good, it will come back to you in the form of a blessing as a step towards your own freedom. That is the only thing that helps you. The good that you do alone is good for you. The good that you do, the good that you do to others is good for you. Therefore, do it with Shraddha, don't do it with Ashraddha. Shraddhayadeyam, Shriyadeyam, and do it again in order to make the other person happy. Not for some other, what we call, just for a show off. Don't do good as a show off, just to announce to the world how good you are. Just to announce to the world how good you are. You undertake some good deeds. First announce and then vagera. That you can't. There is no anandam in announcing and then doing good. Just silently do good. Therefore, Shraddhaya adeyam, Ashraddhaya adeyam, Shriyadeyam. Do good, not in order to tell the world. Hriyadeyam, do it with Hri. Hri means modesty. In the sense, with humility. Do it with humility. Do you know what is that humility? God, you are great. You are so good that you have given me this opportunity to do good. It's a very big thing. Because you should feel happy that you are in a position to do good rather than expecting something good from somebody. You are in a position to give, not in a position to take. Hey, it is real blessing. Because it's too embarrassing to be asking, you see. Therefore, when you are in a position to, and therefore, the richer you become, humbler you should, greater and greater humility you should discover. Therefore, the richer you grow, humbler you should become, in which case you are growing. You are growing rich also, you are growing inwardly also. There is growth of riches and growth of the person. Supposing the riches are growing and the person becomes really stagnant, then it will go straight into his head. Why? He is not growing. He is not able to take it in his stride. He is not able to take the wealth in his stride and move in life rather than he just gets stagnant and it goes straight to his head. Why he is not able to assimilate? Because what is not assimilated, the food, when you don't assimilate, it goes straight into your head in the form of the gas, acidity. Yes, whenever it all becomes undigested, unassimilated. Unassimilated leads to headaches, etc. It goes into the head. And therefore anything unassimilated becomes a burden. The food undigested in the stomach remains what? A burden. It's a burden. I have the food in my stomach, but I am not able to digest. So what does it remain? Nutrition or burden? A burden. Similarly, money unassimilated remains only a burden. I should be able to assimilate money. Do you know what is assimilating money? It can't give me anything beyond physical survival. Cutting it to its size is called assimilating it. Cutting it to its size. I don't allow it to go into my head. Okay, Shraddhayadeyam, Ashraddhayadeyam, Shriyadeyam, Hriyadeyam, Bhiyadeyam. Always give it with the fear that you may embarrass the other person. Very beautiful value. When you help somebody, see to it that you don't embarrass the other person. That is called be. Help without causing embarrassment. Bhiyadeyam, Samvidadeyam. Don't do it mechanically. Give it with the knowledge that you are doing the right thing. Let the world say whatever, but you are doing the right thing because you are only helping yourself. And there is no sense of also that you are obliging anybody. You are only helping yourself. In that manner, Shriyadeyam, Shraddhayadeyam, Ashraddhayadeyam, Shriyadeyam, Hriyadeyam, Bhiyadeyam, Samvidadeyam. You can memorize these 5. Come on, repeat it. Shraddhayadeyam, Ashraddhayadeyam, Shriyadeyam, Bhiyadeyam, Samvidadeyam. When you help, Deyam means giving. When you give means giving need not be money, and I am not talking about that. Whenever you help, even when you help your children, help your husband, help your parents-in-law, parents, any small little, quietly you comfort the person. The most enjoyable is incognito comforting a person. You comfort a person without letting anybody know. You quietly comfort a person and disappear. That is what is called really best way of serving. And therefore, these 5, Shraddha. In that manner, when you gain wisdom, it is for yourself, you are meeting a need. Thus, there are 2 kinds, there are 2 forms of knowledge which we are all in need of to understand what we are. Do we really die? Do we really survive the body? Is it really true that there is a future for us? There was a past? What is the spiritual truth about our being? This is one thing we need to know. The second thing is to know that we need to be mentally peaceful, for which we need the right attitudes. Therefore, right attitude is also our need. And all that I said, the 5 Shraddha, Shraddhayadeyam, Shriyadeyam, these are our need. These are also our need. To help is our need. To help one another is to help ourselves, to help one another is our need. Now, this we have seen in the next verse. Bhagavan is going to show the difference between Karma Yoga and a ritual. Karma Yoga and Kamya Karma. I want you to hear this phrase. Bhagavan is trying to show the difference between Karma Yoga and Kamya Karma. Did you hear this now? You can just hear once more. Bhagavan is trying to show the difference between Karma Yoga and Kamya Karma. Karma Yoga means the right attitudes with which we have to do our duties, which prepares us for the understanding, which works for our well-being, which really purifies our mind, corrects our attitudes. It prepares us for mental peace, mental reflection and understanding. It's a preparatory step. These preparatory attitudes are called Karma Yoga. Spiritual, I don't mind calling them spiritual attitudes, but the moment I use the word spiritual attitude, it becomes free for all. Each one thinks of his own way. Spiritual attitude means what? Everybody thinks his own way. Therefore, I better explain. Karma Yoga is not just spiritual attitude. It is an attitude it's an attitude associated with doing our duty. Doing our duty as a prayer to God and accepting the result as prasadam. In simplest terms, that is called Karma Yoga. Now, this Karma Yoga and Kamya Karma. Kamya Karma means doing an action primarily, solely for a material result. That is called Kamya Karma. I want you to register it. It's not easy. Kamya Karma means I do it not as a prayer to God, not for pleasing God, not for helping anybody. I am doing it because I want a material result. I want to enjoy it. I am not obliging anybody, helping anybody. Neither it is a spiritual thing, nor a prayer, nor religious. I am neither being spiritual, nor religious, nor moral, nor ethical, nothing doing. Here is an action for which I want to result. I want my money. That is called Kamya Karma. Solely for the material result. Nothing else matters. Nothing else counts. I don't mind sacrificing the whole world for it. I don't mind sacrificing everything for that what I want. This is what I want, for which I don't mind sacrificing everything. If you want me to change my religion, I will change my religion. If you want me to change my name, I will change my name. If you want me to change my wife, even that I will do. Why? Because I want that object. Such an attitude is called Kamya Karma. Desire-oriented, material result-oriented action is called Kamya Karma. Because the word Kamya itself means what is desired. Kamana. Kamana ki hetu se, for due to the reason of some kamana, man performs an action. That is called Kamya, the object of desire. You know, and now this difference, everybody has to see this. You will greatly benefit from your perception of the difference between Karma Yoga and Kamya Karma. Kamya Karma is that about the fruit of which you can never be certain. Understand this. It's a very big difference. Even though you are doing an action and only for the material result, but you can never be sure whether that material result will come. You may say, I must get it. I must have it. You may say anything, but ultimately there is always a doubt. Uncertainty. There is always uncertainty about achieving the result of one's kamya karma. Did you hear the whole sentence? There is always uncertainty about achieving the result of one's kamya karma. You do business, you want money, but you cannot be sure. The whole effort may go in vain. The whole effort may go in vain. 5 years effort may bring me 0. Is it not? That is why kamya karma means taking a risk. There is never a kamya karma without taking a risk. Therefore, don't try to start some kamya karma free from all risks. Every kamya karma has a risk. What is the risk? I may get, I may not get the result. Uncertainty. A krishi, a farmer really raises the crop, and then come the floods. Whole thing is gone. And similarly, I have a son, I bring him up, and when he is almost really out of his teens and he meets with an accident, he dies. All my dreams are gone, dashed. This world is full of misery. Do you know why? A lot due to uncertainty of these actions, kamya karma. Uncertainty. Something happens. Kamya karma. Dasharatha wanted, he performed a kamya karma called Putra Kameshti Yaga, asked for the progeny, and then God gave him progeny, 4 sons. Then did he get happiness? Did he get happiness? Sometimes I don't get the object that I work for. Sometimes I get the object, don't get the expected happiness out of it. You better note it down. Uncertainty has its own expansiveness. Uncertainty is not confined to the material object. Uncertainty, in fact, extends even to what we expect out of. Uncertainty continues even after getting the object. I wanted to marry that girl, even after marrying that girl, uncertainty remains. Uncertainty never ends in the realm of kamya karma. It is always better. You have, in fact, understanding this phenomenon amounts to understanding all that Bhagavan wants us to understand. A lot that Bhagavan wants us to understand. That is why he says, having understood the realm of uncertainty, you better move towards the realm of certainty. Don't live in a realm of uncertainty. Move to a realm of certainty, karma yoga. Karma yoga is different. Kamya karma is different. Even after I wanted the money and I got the money. I wanted this house, I got the house. I wanted to get the house made in this manner, I got this made. Everything I made. But still after all that, I don't know whether it will make me happy, whether I will be happy with that. I don't know. Thus, uncertainty, there is uncertainty about the things to be gained. There is uncertainty about the comfort to be gained through the things. There is uncertainty about the happiness to be gained from the things. There is uncertainty through the realm of kamya. Bhagavan says, what I am teaching is karma yoga, in which there is no uncertainty. Very beautiful. There is no uncertainty. He says, na iha abhikrama nashosti. With this background, with this introduction in your mind, look at the verse. Iha in Karma Yoga, Iha in Karma Yoga, na, there is not. Abhikrama nashaha, uncertainty. Meaning what? Effort going in vain. Effort going to waste is called abhikrama nashaha. Means you have done some work, the whole thing goes to waste. That is called abhikrama. I did lot of effort, raising the crop, and at the end of it, the whole thing is a waste. This is called abhikrama nashaha. I started business, ultimately, kuch nahi mila. Abhikrama nashaha. What about your effort? Pata nahi, sari effort chale gaye, khatam. Went down the drain. Everybody went down the drain. So, this is what is called abhikrama nashaha. Kuch nahi mila. I thought I would get, but I didn't get. This is called, what about the effort? It's all gone. This is what frustrates man. This is what really makes man very unhappy. Every abhikrama nasha becomes a blockage in the arteries. You understand? Every abhikrama nasha becomes a blockage. Very dangerous. Therefore, Krishna says, if this humanity has to be bailed out, has to be helped, Bhagavan thinks this humanity has to be taught to move from Kamya Karma to Karma Yoga. And in Karma Yoga, well, there is no Abhikrama Nashaha. Meaning what? Instead of really thinking only, what is Karma Yoga? I am not doing my duty solely for the material result. I am doing my duty primarily for my inner growth, because my moksha, my liberation doesn't lie in the abundance of things, but my liberation lies in my growth and clarity about myself. Therefore, in Karma Yoga, Krishna says, you do your duties primarily for mental growth, for your growth. Primarily. Secondarily, material prosperity. That will come. That is a result. But primarily for your growth. And then how do you grow? Hey, by doing your duty prayerfully, you are purifying your mind. Doing a duty prayerfully purifies one's mind. And purification means growing out of impulses. Growing out of impulses means becoming more and more peaceful. Becoming more and more peaceful means becoming more and more competent for self-discovery. In this manner, our ultimate well-being lies in our clarity about ourselves. That Krishna understands very well. Therefore, even if you bring heaven onto the earth, even living in heaven, man has to ultimately become clear about himself. There is no other way. And therefore, if a person does duty primarily as a prayer for God, for self-purification, and that even if he does a little, to that extent it gives him the result. Even a little duty done prayerfully certainly brings about mental purification. There is no uncertainty. Karma Yoga with certainty brings about mental purity. Now I am going to give you an example, because this, you have to grasp this. How it is certain. When you help somebody, can you avoid being satisfied? Can you avoid feeling good? When you help somebody. Says, let me help, he is suffering, let me help. When you help somebody, can you avoid, meaning can you stop feeling good? Is it possible? Can you feel bad? No. That is what is called certainty. Means what? It's not in your hands. Just as the uncertainty is not in my hands, means what? There, uncertainty is beyond my hands. I can't do anything about the uncertainty there. And in Karma Yoga, when I do some good deed, when I am prayerful, it brings mental purity and peace. That also is not in my hands. It happens. Choicelessly happens. I want you to capture this. Their uncertainty, I can't change. Here, certainty, I can't change. I can't use my will and not feel nice when I do good. Able to balance will be good. Therefore, Karma Yoga choicelessly brings about mental purity and peace and fulfillment. And Kamya Karma choicelessly remains uncertain. It may bring, it may not. Na iha abhikrama nashosti. This is one. In a ritual, now let us take a ritual. A ritual is generally Kamya Karma. And that ritual may bring result, may not bring result, I am telling you. It may bring result, may not bring. Supposing your business is not doing well and you do some Kamya Karma, and how you do it, we don't know. They always say, if it brings the result, then they say that means the karma has been done well, and if it doesn't bring the result, then they will say the karma has been not done well. But nobody can be certain. Kamya karma ke baare mein kuch nahi bata sakte. But supposing you really help somebody, or you serve, you do some seva to the very elderly or a blind or anybody who is in need, you help, and then is what? With certainty it gives you the result. Even Vedic ritual, Kamya Karma, has uncertainty about it. Laukika Kamya Karma, there are two Kamya Karmas. One is an empirical, like business, etc. is what? Empirical Kamya Karma. And rituals are Vaidika Kamya Karma. Both are uncertain. I don't know. I may respect them, I may perform them, that is a different, but there is an uncertainty. But if I do the same ritual as Karma Yoga, or the same business as Karma Yoga, or the same service as Karma Yoga, anything I do as a Karma Yoga, a business happens to be my duty, I do it primarily for my growth. And by the way, Bhagavan gives some prasadam also. Then, without any uncertainty, I am growing. The inner growth becomes really certain, and the outer results, whatever comes, I accept as prasadam. I remain a peaceful individual. Neha vikramanashosti. The next is pratyavayo na vidyate. Pratyavaya, like you go to a doctor and you say, this is what I want, this is my problem is, and he prescribes some medicine, and when you take the medicine, sometimes the medicine may work, may not work, and if you take a little more, it becomes pratyavaya, it has adverse result. If you take less, it has adverse result. If you take more, it has adverse result. If you take it at the wrong time, it has adverse result. If you take instead of water with something else, it has adverse result. That means what? This is called pratyavaya. Pratyavaya means when there is a prospect of adverse result being gained. There is a scope, there is a prospect of getting adverse result. But in Karma Yoga, there is no adverse pratyavaya. There is no adverse effect. There is no adverse effect. Therefore, whenever you do your duty with prayer, it doesn't bring any adverse result, it always brings the right result. It always brings mental purity. It always brings mental peace. There is no adverse. Tell me, even though you don't help the person, to the extent that he wants the help, even if you give a little help, it doesn't bring, you extend small help, big help, smaller help, bigger help, it doesn't matter. That you have the right intention in your heart to help gives the right result. It doesn't give adverse. Suppose a person becomes very hungry into your, I will give you an example. Somebody comes, he is very hungry. And then some people say either give him full meal or don't give him. This is a wrong thing. They say even if you give even half a piece of bread, I tell you, you have helped him. This is all that I have. Does it give adverse result? Supposing there is not much food to give him, you have only just, 1 or 2 loaves of bread. 1 or 2 loaves of bread, and you give that bread. Tell me, does it mean it will give adverse result? No. Why? In Karma Yoga, there is no. Supposing there is a politician from whom you want to get some favor and you give him 1 or 2 loaves of bread, you will get adverse result. I hope you are able to follow. When you want something from the person, there is some politician or somebody comes to your house from whom you want some material favor, and instead of giving him a good continental meal, you give him 1 or 2 loaves of dry bread. What will it bring? Pratyavaya means what? Adverse result. But if you don't want anything from the person, you only give him because he is hungry, with the attitude, hey Bhagavan, let it be of some use to him. When you help him, even though that's not enough for him, you give him very meager help, you extend a very meager help, even then it will not bring you disturbance. It will only make you feel happy. It will never bring pratyavaya, adverse result. Therefore, any amount, small help, big help, even a little help will never bring pratyavaya. It will always bring fulfillment. Clear? But whenever there is a motive for a material result, it can bring pratyavaya. This is the first line. Therefore, please, neha vikramanashosti pratyavayo na vidyate. Swalpamapyasya dharmasya. When we follow good, even a little. Swalpam means even a little. Asya dharmasya. Bhagavan Krishna calls it as dharma. Dharma means this is exactly what can support us. This is what? This mutually helping, extending the help is what can support us, not prosperity. Prosperity alone cannot sustain us. Sometimes prosperity, not only sometimes, a lot of times prosperity does not come to our rescue, but the other individuals come to our rescue. It is the people who can help us, not mere prosperity. When I extend help, then I also need, sometimes I need also help. Therefore, others extend help. Therefore, helping one another as a prayer, doing duties as a prayer is what can sustain us. It is not merely having abundance of wealth. Abundance of wealth becomes kamya karma. The inner prayer is what can sustain us. It's like, I'll give you another example. Supposing there is some problem in the house. Daughter is not getting married, son is not getting married, or the son is really getting spoiled. Son is getting spoiled. Who spoiled him? Mother comes and says, Swamiji, my son is getting spoiled. Who spoiled him? Who spoiled him? The mother who spoiled. Mera beta, mera chand beta. Who spoiled him? It is the mother who spoiled him. And now he is out of hand. Therefore, right from the beginning, you should have taught him the real, practical things. Hey, this, I can't be there around to give you protection. I can't be there as your guardian. You have to look after yourself. And the best way of looking after yourself is, you better respect the law, respect discipline, respect codes, respect values, respect dharma. In fact, if you convey to him that, it's great. Anyway, come and say, oh, he is spoiled. Then you become panicky. What can sustain you at that time? Really, son is getting spoiled, daughter is not getting married, husband is not interested in business. Oh my God, too many problems at the same time. And the housewife, who is supposed to who has to really absorb all the shocks. Now, how can she sustain? Tell me, what can sustain her at that time? Lot of money in the cupboard? Her inner strength. Her inner strength is nothing but her trust in divinity, her trust in the truth, her trust in the truth which she always worshipped in life. That very truth becomes the sustaining force. Her own prayerful heart can sustain. Her own goodness can sustain her. Her own helping nature can sustain her. Her own inner karma yoga can sustain her. Minus that, even if you are a shaky person with a lot of money, all right, but can't sustain. Therefore, what is real dharma? Bhagavan says this is dharma. Swalpamapyasya dharmasya. The karma yoga which is dharma because it supports you. Swalpamapyasya dharmasya. Even a little of karma yoga in your life, trayate mahato bhayat. It can save you from enormous dangers. Even a little inner attitude can save you from lot of calamities. Yes, inner attitude is what saves you from lot of problems. Inner attitude can save me from panicking, number one. Inner attitude can save me from many impulses. Inner attitude can save me from making many mistakes. Inner attitude can save me from treading the wrong paths. In fact, that is what sustains me and restrains me. My inner attitude is what restrains me, sustains me, and leads me towards the truth. Therefore, karma yoga, even a little of that karma yoga is something that saves man, protects man. Mahato bhayat means from great fears. Clear? Thus, kamya karma we need, but you better do even kamya karma with the attitude of karma yoga. I don't mean to say what Krishna is teaching is do all your duties. Do business, do it. That is a duty. Raising crops is farming is a duty. Going to office is a duty. And attending to the work at home is a duty. In fact, a series of duties. The whole life is duty anyway. And do the duty not as kamya karma, but do your duty as a karma yoga. Do your duty as a prayer to God. Okay? This is the verse. The next verse, please. Just another 5 minutes. Let there be no slump in the interest. We have had enough of the slump. Let there be no slump in the interest for the next verse. Just 5 minutes. Then afterwards we can all go. There is something called Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. This first word, you listen to that word. What is Vyavasaya? in our common parlance, what is Vyavasaya? What is Vyavasaya? Huh? Occupation, Vyavasaya, or occupation, industry, any profession is all called Vyavasaya. But actually here, Bhagavan is using the word Vyavasaya in the sense of Nishchaya, means clear, correct, the right. Vyavasaya means the correct, the real, the correct, the clear, the real. It's like, when you feel hungry, what is the right thing to do? Eat. Does it have alternatives? No. Please understand. All the essentials don't have alternatives. All the essentials don't have alternatives. When you feel thirsty, you drink water and it has no alternative. Breathing has no alternative. In the same manner, for mental peace, there is no alternative path. There is only one path, and that is you have to have right attitudes. That Vyavasayatmika means what? A right path for which there is no alternative. Vyavasayatmika means a right path for which there is no alternative. Why? Because just as survival, eating, drinking, these are all very essential. Survival is essential. Even mental man craves for mental peace as much as he craves for living. His love for living and love for peace are the same. His love for living and love for peace are the same. And for living, really I have to eat and drink and rest and sleep and wake up and exercise, and also I have to breathe. All these things do they have options? Alternatives? They don't have alternatives. Swamiji, walking for exercise, I have an option. What is an option? I call for 2-3 massage givers. That is also kind of, instead of you are exercising, somebody else is exercising. Instead of you are exercising on yourself, somebody else is exercising. Therefore, essentials have no alternatives. You better think about this in life. Therefore, when it comes to the essentials, don't allow inertia in your mind. Inertia should not be accepted when it comes to essentials. You should just wake up, do it. This is a duty to be done, you have to do it. This is an exercise to be done, you have to do it. The food to be cooked, I have to cook it. Cleanliness is essential, I have to do it. Environment is essential, to do it. Environment is essential, I have to do it. And therefore, the essentials have no alternatives. Essentials have no alternatives. And similarly, mental shanti also, the path to mental peace is karma yoga, and that doesn't have an alternative. An alternative free right path is called Vyavasayatmika. I have defined it. We will continue the verse in the coming verse, but today you pick up the meaning of the word. Vyavasayatmika does not mean industrious action. Not that. Vyavasayatmika means a right path to mental peace for which there is no alternative. Clear? Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate